Hey guys, this is Kat. In this video I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my cultural influences in terms of my spirituality and also in terms of my practice of Wicca. So to start off with, I thought I'd let you know that I can't really practice studying and getting into my own ancestral cultural background in a traditional way because of the fact that I was actually adopted when I was younger. So due to that, I don't really know who my bloodline relatives are and all of their, associations with different countries and cultures and things like that. But that's okay, because what that does is it then makes the whole world like a level playing field for me in terms of different cultures I can explore and see if I connect with, because really any of them could technically be a part of my background. And furthermore, I feel like if you go back far enough in history, we all probably come from, a place like Africa, or are mostly related to each other if you go back far enough in time. So, to me, that's something to keep in mind. And I've always thought it's really cool to be a little bit eclectic and to learn about other cultures, folklore from different regions, mythos. I mainly work with the Celtic pantheon, and my adopted family, is a family I've always known and grown up with. I love them to bits. Their ancestors and their bloodline mainly comes from England, and it also comes from Wales, and a little bit of French, I believe, is in there. And then, of course, I live in Canada, so I'm influenced by Canadian culture too. I've always felt definitely like an attraction and an affinity with the Celtic pantheon and the deities of the Celtic regions, and I don't know if I would have or not if it weren't for the fact that my dad was really into practicing Celtic Christianity and studied that a lot kind of during the years where I was like an early teenager, and I know that had an influence on me. And it's interesting to think, would I have gone that route had he not have been into that stuff, because in Wicca it's very common to practice like the Celtic side of things, so I don't know if I would have just come to that conclusion anyways or what. But yeah, so the main deities I work with are Bridget and Lou from the Celtic pantheon, but I've worked with like Greek, Roman, Sumerian, and like Norse, many different cultures, deities, and yeah, so I think it's really cool to be eclectic and to pull from different regions of the world, especially if you're like from one region, and then you want to maybe try working with the opposite side of the world's cultures. So for example, I live in the northern hemisphere, I'm up in Canada, and so the idea of working with deities from say South America would be very exotic and intriguing to me in a lot of ways, because their cultural influences are so different from mine, and those people lived in a type of place that where the things that you had to do for survival and the folklore and the deities would have had very in a lot of ways they would have been similar, but it also would have been kind of seen through a very different lens. And I think I would like to study as many different cultures as I can over my lifetime and be influenced by them all. That would be like a goal for me. Anyway, yeah, I know some people kind of feel wary of working with like different cultures where those cultures may still be worshipping particular deities. Like for example, Hinduism, those deities are still worshipped today by Hindu people, and yet there's a lot of people in the pagan community who work with Hindu deities. And to me, I don't consider it to be cultural misappropriation if you do work with deities within a different religious format than the one that they were kind of originally, in some people's minds, purposed for. Because number one, you can argue that point. You can say, well, did the religion invent these deities, or are these energies and personified deities just simply being seen through the lens of that culture, and therefore it's seen as belonging to that culture, but really, do the gods belong to any of us? Do they belong to any particular country, or can anyone really say that they have a monopoly on them? So that's like an interesting thing to consider. I think it's really cool how different cultures of the world who are Christian, will they will see Jesus in maybe the cultural trappings of that particular region. So like there's people who, like you could buy a nativity scene from like Peru or a South American place, and the people in the nativity scene and Jesus would all have the skin color and sort of some of the clothing and stylization of that region, right? And then somebody else would picture Jesus as being Caucasian or Arabic looking or whatever, right? So I think that's really cool. I think the best thing for me to try to keep in mind about different cultures is, to, like I said, work with the dualities. Like, because I'm from the northern hemisphere, it might be really cool for me to work with deities from the southern hemisphere and sort of balance that out, because I'm working with deities who are, mainly conceived more like in the north, and so there could even be like more earth energy to them, and then it would be cool to bring more fire energy into my life by working with the ones from the south too. So those are my thoughts on that subject and on influences. That's pretty much what I wanted to say in this video for today. Thanks a lot for watching. I'd love to hear your opinions on this topic too, and have a blessed day. Bye.